Cliff, we talk a lot about AI and about LLMs and about agents that are going and investigating information. For agents to operate, AI agents to operate efficiently, they need to see it all and they need to respond quickly. Why is that? Why does that need to be there in place for the sort of agent operation to be effective?
Agents will do far more exhaustive investigations than humans will when like an alert goes off. They will go and run, instead of like a handful of queries to do an investigation for an alert, they might do 40, they might do 50, they might do 100 different queries to dive deeply into many different data sources and correlate across them. And so it becomes really important for agents as they do investigations to get access to as much data as they can. And for those answers, whenever they ask a question, those answers need to come back extremely quickly. Otherwise, the agent will not be helpful to the analyst trying to respond to an alert.
This is what Scanner does. How are you able to look at all the data and do this quickly so the AI agents can operate fast?
When we got started with Scanner, we felt like all of the data in the world is flowing to object storage. And that's where everything is. But it is insanely slow to query that data. All of the query tools that exist to analyze that data are meant to do things like generate a business report that comes back in a few hours, which is dumb.
Right, and especially if you're doing 46 queries, weeks later.
The reason why it's super fast, there are really two key innovations on our search system. One is that we use serverless compute that spins up a lot of compute very quickly, and then it disappears when you're not using it. So you don't have to pay for all of this like extra query capacity, but you get tons of query capacity all at once the moment you click run, and then it all spins down. And so the cost is actually really minimal, but the power is immense. Mm-hmm. The other thing that we do is we have redesigned the way that this indexing system works that you see in other tools and so on, but to make it perfect for object storage so that we can do something like a petabyte of data that you have in your object storage that you're going to search through. The search space gets, after traversing the indexes, gets reduced to just 10 terabytes, and that 10 terabytes gets searched in a handful of seconds. So like even if you have petabyte scale data sets, it's like a handful of seconds to get answers back. Mm-hmm. And that can be unbelievably powerful for agents. For Scanner, we're like, we want the answer in a few seconds.
The SIEMs operated before there was so much AI. And now that there's so much AI, they're not set up for the AI agents to operate.
You need a data layer that is insanely fast and can handle massive data sets. Your agents are going to ask like maybe 5 times, 10 times more questions per alert investigation than your analysts will. And they're very happy to like explore every last corner of the data set, and they won't get tired. We have found actually after we released our MCP interface, agents are now by far the biggest users of our product. It's like they outpace humans by like 2x now. And it's probably going to be like 90% of the usage will probably come from agents. And the only way that works is if the tool that they're using gives them answers extremely rapidly. And it's just better if you can see 10 times more log sources for the agents to really get to the root cause of the problem. So yeah, we really think that the data layer for security needs to be super, super fast and needs to be oriented toward handling these agent use cases where they query way more than people tend to.
If you've got a SOC, if you've got AI agents operating and you want them to be able to operate efficiently, looking at all your data, get the information quickly, and do lots and lots of queries quickly so you get your answers fast, why not check out what they're doing over at Scanner? The URL is right there, scanner.dev. Look right there.